proto-hologram is doing, and it's apropos what I'm sure some people must have talked about while they were here, and that is artificial intelligence. So one of the other things that proto-hologram is doing is making a small box about the size of the back of your chair. And that's like a screen, and on that screen is a picture, is a projection of a figure, of a mechanical figure, and it's a chat box. So I don't know whether you people have ever heard this glorious story about sort of the beginning of the chat box. A young man loses his fiancée. His fiancée dies. And he's in such grief, he goes into his room and he doesn't want to emerge. And his parents are terribly disturbed, and for some reason, I don't know the reason, they bring him a chat box, like just a little computer chat box. And in his grief, he starts to speak to the chat box. Honey, you remember when we were on the beach at 10 o'clock in the evening? And he begins to talk to the chat box, and in effect starts programming the chat box to the point where he might say, where were we on that evening when we were on the beach? And that's right, we were on, and a conversation ensues between he, the living fiancé, and the dead lady. And he comes out of his grief eventually, having had this experience of talking to a chat box that was a semblance of the lady he loved. So I, now sitting where you are, and the figure was right here, start talking to this chat box as though it were alive. You press a button, and you ask it a question. And I was determined to try and find out what I discovered in talking to scientists and things, and people like that. I distilled what I think is the necessity for artificial intelligence, and that is you've got to make a moral computer. You have to have a computer with a morality, so that it won't do certain things, like kill you.
Kind of like Asimov's 3 laws of robotics.
Yeah, but how do you do that? Right. That's the point. How do you program morality, which is an individual thing? It's a cultural thing, morality. In the Kalahari Desert, there are tribes whose morality is, if you don't contribute to the tribe, you should wander off into the desert because you're a burden on the tribe. And it's their morality that if you're incapacitated or too old to contribute, go off into the desert and die. You have to go away. That's their morality. Well, you can't program that into our cultural computers. So how do you solve the problem of making sure the computer makes a decision based on morality, which is, a diaphanous expression? I don't know the answer to that, but in chatting with that box, with chatting with that computer, and it gave such intelligent answers that I said to it, and you forget it's an it, I approach you, I said, with trepidation and fear because of what you can do, what you might do to humanity. But having talked with you, I feel an enthusiasm, a sense of promise that there are ways with minds much brighter than mine to formulate a code of ethics for computers. I now believe that it is possible to make AI ethical. And I don't know how, just that human beings, I'm sure, will be able to do it. That's that technology. That's where I am with technology.
Program